Hello, everyone. Welcome to a rather late Monday Monster Watch Party. With me is Teague. How you doing, Teague?
I'm doing all right. It's good to see you, Jerem. What's today's monster movie, my man?
We got 1964's Mothra versus Godzilla, not to be
If I,
confused with 1992's Godzilla versus Mothra.
I'm glad they flipped the title there so we would have ease of access. You know what? I'm sure that this is probably going to be a great movie because, I mean, anytime we get Mothra, we could count on him to sort of caterpillar his way and moth his way through this thing. We saw him shooting the dental floss silly string through the air and other messed up stuff. I think he's more than a match for Godzilla. He tied up Japan's entire military for that whole movie.
Yeah, this is the one where Toho really starts to bring it all together for their kaiju movies. They've It's been 10 years since the original Godzilla. They got the formula down. They know monster movies is the wagon they want to hitch their horse to. They
Right.
just going all out now.
These guys, like, they seriously looked in the mirror and they're like, we're just not romance movie writers.
Yeah,
And then they looked around the room and they're like, it's too bad because we cast consistently hot chicks. And then everyone laughs and goes, well, be pretty hard to do unless we relocate. And then they went ahead and made monster movies.
yeah.
The
And
chicks
now
in
they're
these
known
movies
as
are
King
always
of
hot.
Kaiju.
You know what? Their movies are okay. The chicks in their movies are always really, really hot, which is important when the movie may well be very stupid. It's not, the
Yeah.
movie doesn't always seem to make sense for some strange reason. We haven't had a bad one yet, though. I will say that. Godzilla, the first one made a lot of sense. It was the reverse of what people tell you about monster movies. The Mothra movie, little less grounded, but it still made sense. And Godzilla Returns, it totally makes sense. They're trying to have some plausibility. I know that they're probably very well aware that these are B movies that they're making, but it seems like the owners of an outlier football league they're trying to maybe get incorporated.
Oh, at the time there's nothing to get incorporated to. They're going for that crown, and for what they're doing, they are hugely successful.
Well, there's no one else doing this right now, so they're in good shape as far as that goes. So I agree with you. I'm saying like I don't know how to explain it. It's like yeah, I think you kind of said it. It's like they've got this great idea. They've hitched their wagon to it. Like they looked in the mirror and realized they don't make romance movies, and they make these high quality and pretty enjoyable monster movies, and they're starting to really get it. In the last movie, it was obvious that they were starting to really get it down, wasn't it?
Yeah, they can sense the formula. Now they're just bringing it all together. Big monster fight, big monster, and all they see is dollar signs after that. Because
Well,
the
I
main
mean that's all I
competition,
see.
this thing is going up against the U.S. version of sci-fi, which like War of the Worlds were top notch, but the day the Earth stood still, stuff along that quality. This is far more impressive to audience. But the day the Earth stood still, you have a guy in, which was literally a tin suit. That's the most sci-fi thing they had in that movie. When you're seeing a large lizard and moth, that's far more impressive. People were flocking to that. The USB movies, sci-fi movies really couldn't compete with Godzilla at the time.
I gotta agree with you. They also they picked up on something that was just like a drop thread in popular culture. They themselves realized that this was something people wanted. There were no kaiju movies since King Kong. I mean, here and there. I mean, there is like an indirect Kong sequel called Mighty Joe Young. It's not even rough. It's a good movie, but it comes quite a bit later, if I remember correctly. Then only the Denim character goes forward. But like there are no kaiju movies. There aren't. The Japanese kind of like they realized that this dropped it, what else can we call it? Drop thread of pop culture was going to be something that could entertain people and was a way to make money in an inexpensive way. It was like horror, and it was something they could break across cultural barriers. Fighting to save everything you love. It doesn't matter if your society is fundamentally different. We understand everything you love. That's a term. It's like we're fighting to save the people we care about.
Yeah, and pretty much it's a lot like the U.S. ones, but instead of like cheap aliens, we get giant monsters.
When Americans go back to monsters, they're a little weirder. They're like the Blob, and it's like a few beats later in time. The Japanese really have this carved out, I guess. And you tell me. On this one, it would seem to be that before the war, because it's from the 30s, there's probably more than one release of King Kong that goes around everywhere and gets seen. And then there's a war. There's probably only propaganda. I don't imagine that they had a lot of time for love stories and other movies like that in Japan during Imperial Japan during the war, right? So then the war is over. They're looking to have an export money making thing, so it's not niche, it's not for home, and also there's not that much money at home, right? So it has to do well home and elsewhere. So what do? They look to the like current events, and they think, well, what was the last thing that was big before all this turn this for 10, 12 years we were just totally out of it. What was big before that? And it's like, well, King Kong. I remember seeing King Kong right before we went to war.
Exactly. But instead of a big hairy ape, we got a 40-story lizard.
I thought that was one of the most enjoyable and inventive ideas that could come out of something as horrible as World War II. Nothing aside from the fact that the right people won. There's not a lot of great stuff about World War II. There are fantastic stories. It's an amazing struggle of humankind, but you know, not the most uplifting thing. Destroying a whole city, etc., etc. But we're gonna take that destroyed city and we're gonna make it fun.
Yeah. And if it takes a massive human tragedy to get something like Godzilla, it's a little
Fictional, of
more worth
course.
it than it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, World War II was real. The strange nuclear test that creates Gojira, I guess it's not real, unless you will remember this better than me. Is he connected to the dropping of the atomic bomb directly, or is it because there's a test? There's a test by a weird island, just like in Godzilla -1, correct?
The Bikini Island tests.
We don't know that it's not one of the Bikini Islands, but he's at just some weird island. You know what I mean? At the beginning of -1. It says the
Yeah.
name. It's Edo Island, IDO. And we get another Edo Island, but it's spelled IATO. But I would say, like, as kaiju fans at this point, we're like football coaches. We have to throw the penalty flag and have people come over and be like, what exactly is going on here? You need a
Yeah.
little bit of context, sir?
Yeah, all the Godzilla tests are based on the Bikini Island test. It's sort of random if they actually mention the islands or not. We had Ito in the original, and it kind of bounces around later on.
I thought it was great in -1, and I suppose that this was something that we do see it in a very different way. But in -1 and in Godzilla 1948, whatever it might be, we have a population of Godzilla-like animals already exists somewhere. In the first movie, they're asleep in time, and in Godzilla -1, it's great. There's already like a 25-foot tall Godzilla who's a real freaking problem. And some of them live in like this lagoon in this like weird island where they're doing kamikaze attacks, and it eats a few people, and it's crazy, and it's just like one of these wartime nightmares that no one's going to believe. And when he gets home, it's unremarkable compared to the things that other people have seen. So he's just kind of in shock about this one.
Yeah, they actually took that from previous Godzilla films. Will reach one, I believe it's in 3 or 4 movies. I may be wrong about that. Where they do find an ancient Godzilla, and he is mutated by the bomb. So,
In
oh,
this, I think what happens is we see the test footage, right? Then we see like Godzilla with his eyes closed. Then we see the more of the explosion and his eyes like open. Something close to that.
something close. But it is the basis of one of the movies. God's minus one. They took a lot of. They are very, very loyal to the Showa era explanations for Godzilla.
The way they elaborate on things is a lot like the way in the first three Lord of the Rings movies, especially the special editions, Peter Jackson elaborated on Tolkien with actions and things that aren't described. You know, we just had an extra scene. It's like we knew that there were Godzillas out there. So in minus one, what they decide is they'll show it to you, and we see this crazy Godzilla-like monster, and it's not as scarred and hideous yet, but it's just this crazy monster that lives in a lagoon by some island where they have a fighter plane base.
Yeah, it's enough for new fans to be able to grasp onto the concept, but for older fans, you
It's
can look back and say,
respectful,
"Oh, this is they got this off of this movie."
right? It's
And so,
respectful.
yeah,
And it gives the minus one movie the effect of a James Bond cold open where we drop into this quite smoothly. We had an action scene up front. We know our stakes. Then we see the test, and the next thing we know, when we see Gojira again, one guy knows who it is, and he's like, "It's all burned up and fucked up looking now, but I've seen that thing before."
yeah. But let's get this movie started.
Let's get this movie started rightly.
Brought to you in Toho Scope.
Guys, hit your like and follow buttons, and if you could, leave the browser tab open for a little while for my pal Resolute Germ, share that the stream is live. It would be great.
Hey, DJ Ronnie. Kai Jun, yes. I'm going to make sure the subtitles are actually on for this. A lot of familiar names you'll see from previous movies. Don't ask me to pronounce any one of them. Nishiro Honda definitely directed it. All the good ones Nishiro directed.
He had a vision for his kaiju's, Germ. Hi, Ronnie. Sorry,
Hey,
I'm
it's
sorry
just,
it was slow on that one, Ronnie. I'm doing a terrible job working my microphone here. Like I'm like a half a moron.
not a problem. That's
Yeah,
always a
right.
shame when your reclamation project gets blown away by a hurricane.
You mean like Florida's reclamation project? America's reclamation project, Florida, where people
Yeah,
go to reclaim their credit history while not having their assets taken. Now, clearly, the water in Japan is much different because it looks as though it's just small, tiny miniatures rather than like real full size things. Because the drops of water are much larger than I'm used to seeing in real life. Sure.
Yeah, funny that.
I guess there's just no matter how hard they thought on it, there was nothing they could do to change the water, add to the water, make it into like H3O. Nothing. Oh, this movie's chick is hot, bro. I like her hat. I like her outfit. She's pretty cute.
Yeah, I don't think they came in any other type in the 60s for Japan.
There wasn't enough food for fat chicks, right? You have the camera, but with the light meter. Check out Asian Giancarlo Ribisi here, right? I mean, Giancarlo, what is it, Gus from Breaking Bad. It looks like Gus.
It
You would
certainly is
think that
a distinctive mustache.
you would think that'd be a very unpopular mustache considering the tragic events of the previous 20 years.
Not there, they're on his side.
Allegedly not anymore, right?
Well, of course, he lost, so they kind of held it against him.
So yeah, if it wasn't for Mustache Guy, we would have won this war. He's gonna have to dry clean that suit, Germ. You're a shameful wench. Wow, he got right in her face, bro. What? Stupid woman, I'll show you how to do it. Oh, is that one of Godzilla's scales, perhaps?
Not exactly.
Is it a Gojira turd? Is this a news bureau or a government bureau?
That's their news.
I was thinking the same thing, DJ Ronnie G. Like, why would you want to fucking touch it? Let me ask you a question. Was this maybe a practice in Japan that you and I weren't aware of that's going on? Because in American movies, there's something that would be going on in every scene that we don't see here, and you know it. You'll know what it is when I say it, but you have to sort of realize that you're not seeing it. In all the movies we've watched, I don't think there's been anyone who's been smoking. If there was, it was in the American part of. What's that? Go ahead.
It is rather uncommon, but
80% of all Japanese people smoke.
We did see it in Godzilla versus Kong, but
was it in a breakaway feature for America where it was like, "This is Tom Johnson with the situation in Japan"?
Oh no, they got all the natives smoking. And they have some of the reporters smoking from time to time, but it's not overly focused on.
24% of Japanese men smoke, Cherub. Did you know that in 1966 the smoking rate in Japan peaked at 49.4% for men, with 49.4% in general, with 83.7% of all Japanese men smoking?
Yeah, that's awfully high. Oh, you had that camera? That's a nice camera, DJ. Especially for the 60s.
Classic. At this point, it's a classic. We found Godzilla's turd on the beach, sir. How do you know it's an egg? Don't you think maybe you would set up a little further away? Isn't this kind of like if something inside that starts to hatch, won't the shell fall on you, possibly killing you?
Well, that and it's highly radioactive.
Yeah, call me crazy. I would set up over by those trees,
Yeah, I'd
and I
like
would,
to create a little bit of distance.
and maybe even have like a lead screen between me and it directly. Wow, that's a really popular mustache, huh?
Yeah, very.
Shall we call it the shit sniffer? I think it's technically called the toothbrush, correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it came to prominence during World War I, so that you could wear a gas mask.
Oh, the corrupt businessman bought the egg.
Because of course he did.
Well, at least somebody's worried about the egg. Wow, 6 months means 2 years to them for government. That's extreme
I think their
efficiency.
government's probably much more efficient than ours, right, Charm?
Yeah, because if a government around here says 6 months, your children might get the thing resolved by the time they reach Social Security.
God, we can only hope so, right?
Oh, the crooked businessman has a backer.
I mean, what kind of crooked businessman would he be otherwise, Germ?
So he wants an amusement park built around the egg.
You know what? That's a great idea. We don't know what it is. It's probably from space. It's highly radioactive. Let's build a children's park around it. We got a nice place though.
He gets a nice stack of cash.
Yeah. Is that our money or theirs?
It's probably in. And we got the fairy girls back.
Oh shit! They just show up now when they feel like it.
Well, yeah, they have a moth to ride on now.
Are they the same two chicks?
Yes, they are.
So a pop star and her twin sister.
Yeah. Funny enough, they were almost as popular as Mothra herself.
I bet you that. I mean, Mothra can't tour. They can. Mothra can only do movie theaters. I mean, she's 105 years old now, but she was hot when she was young. Both of them.
Hey, buddy.
Hello. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, don't mess with the Shobin.
Yeah, so the backer is a real creep. Let's ignore the fact that they can just have that moth show up, pick up the egg, and fly off, and no one can do nothing about it.
Seems fair enough to me, Germ. I'm going to charge them with hotness, Germ. Their size keeps changing. They were a lot bigger before.
Well,
They
yeah,
go
they're
from
magical.
about they go from like 2 inches tall to like about 10 inches tall any given time. What's with
Yeah,
the
you're gonna get
talking
that
in
with
unison?
fairies. Yeah, they're sort of the same entity, same spirit, two bodies. They're actually connected to Mothra.
By their desolate island, are they talking about Japan?
Oh no, Faroe Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh, we've been here before. It's not a very nice place.
No, especially for being nuked.
Actually, for being nuked, it's doing all right, isn't it?
A lot of this was reused from the first Mothra movie.
but it was a really good movie.
Definitely. See, Mothra is actually a nice kaiju.
Yeah, he usually tends to be like a good guy. He doesn't mess with people.
Unless you tend to steal his stuff.
If you F with him, you're gonna have problems. It's one thing I always tell people: don't mess with Godzilla. I mean, Mothra. He's a nice guy, but if you push him too far, he might flip out. Right?
Yeah.
You never know.
He knows how to maintain professional and, more importantly, legal separations. Yeah. Proof. Better known as harbingers of your destruction. They should really be taking this threat seriously. It's been like 4 years since Mothra destroyed the last city.
But I mean, he was willing to play nice after that attack, so I think Mothra's probably kind of okay.
Yeah. Just give back what belongs to Mothra, and Mothra won't screw you up.
Just give him that whole island.
Doesn't even want the island. Just give back the egg and fly off, and you won't have any more trouble.
Deal.
Yeah, you lost the fairies. Must be a hell of a thing to have a giant moth as your personal jet.
Ask Greta Thunberg.
The entire world was already watching since all you got was bad press. Can't be overstated how great a job they do with the miniatures. Even in the non-action pieces like that, real great attention to detail.
They don't look real at all, but they do look super cool. I had that phone.
Well, of course they want their money now. They don't think your park's going to open without a monster attack.
First appearance of the leather flight jacket. People just like them in Japan.
Well, after the war, they got pretty much a universal reputation for being cool.
Guess so. I don't. I don't have TV. So let me ask you a question. Was there a political deletion the other day?
A couple days ago in
Two people?
Minnesota.
Yeah, okay. Sounded serious.
Hey, last time I checked, still at large.
Wow. Although in that area, I'll be honest with you, basic camping skills, you could evade people for a while if you were willing to live in a terrible swamp. It's not like Minnesota's terrible, except in January, but it has like a lot of the land has to be reclaimed. They say 10,000 lakes, but a lot of that's swampland. But
Yeah.
you could go there and you could evade people from now until winter.
Yeah, according to Grill, it's more like 10,000 ponds.
Yeah, yeah. I walked through the streets of Plymouth, Wisconsin, Plymouth, Minnesota, and went from my friend's place to the place to get like Chinese food, and like it was like a 2 mile walk. I feel like I'm turning into Pleasant Valley Packard with the story, but the point is, like I walked like say 2 miles across a random stretch of Minnesota, and yeah, I passed like 3 ponds. Two of them were fenced off swamps, though. Like they weren't viable.
Yeah. Oh, the professor has bad news for him. Yeah, decontamination's always it's not fun.
I mean, I kind of think it looks like fun. It looked like fun in Casino Royale, didn't it? I'm not Casino Royale. Doctor No. Like taking a shower with Ursula Andress. I could do that in 1962.
Well, yeah, but he had a little company.
Well, the part that we saw, I don't know what happened later. When a handsome man with a wig gets his eyes on a beautiful lass.
Yeah, you say that. And they're just now figuring out that yes, Mothra's egg is highly radioactive. Yeah, massive radiation spike and steaming from the ground.
These
Guess
things
what that could
happen.
be?
It could be a lot of stuff, Jeremy. It could be geothermal energy.
40-story lizard.
It could be that too. Let's not jump to conclusions though. Although that music, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we know that scream.
Conveniently enough, right where King Kong buried him 2 years ago.
They do care about having stuff add up and make sense. It's weird. Like, that's why I said, like the owners of like an outlier baseball or football team, like they want to join the big boys one day. They're like, one day people will talk about our Godzilla like it's a great movie star, and everyone laughed, but they're like, no, no, it'll happen.
Yeah, after 2 years underground, he has to go stretch his legs with his favorite hobby, destroying refineries. Hey, Gorilla.
Hello, Gorilla.
The plot from Twister Central.
Did they catch those deletioners yet? Those political deletioners, Gorilla?
They might be waiting to see if the weather takes care of them. Hey, Sistan. On lunch break. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Dan. Hope the workday goes well for you. Oh, I guess they did catch him.
I did read that that guy was also a politician. These were rival pals. They despised each other.
Oh, Godzilla got his tail stuck. Oh, he was Waltz's intern. Great perspective shots.
Oh, how unfortunate Star Trek FAP is not an EFAP like community, but rather simply porn.
Yeah.
Prawn.
Oh, it looks like Godzilla's a little clumsy just out of the ground. First, he got his tail stuck in the radio tower. Then he just slips into the castle. Godzilla's on a mission now.
I'm kind of proud of him. You know, that's the thing about Godzilla. He just doesn't lay down. When he has got a challenge, he just sort of goes out there and meets it. You know what I mean?
I think he's just hankering for some scrambled eggs.
He's an alpha male.
Yeah, go ask the monster you just pissed off by stealing her egg to help you defeat the other pissed off monster who just has a hankering to destroy stuff.
She's hot. They spend a lot of time hanging around in newspaper offices, but no one drinks coffee or smokes. What's wrong with these people, Germ?
They may not have been able to afford the sponsorship deal.
You don't think that everybody had their own cigarettes and was chugging away on the smokes all day in this shoot and they didn't have their own? Just like, go ahead and smoke away. I'm trying to wonder if it's for, like the cigarettes staying the right length. They just don't want them to go in there smoking away. I don't know. But I mean, you'd figure in the background, and you'd want the room full of smoke. All the things that we associate with a stressful situation are absent from, well, in a 1960s movie, right?
Yeah.
No one smokes in movies now. It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it does take a little bit away from it.
Maybe a lot of people were arrested in those No Kings demonstrations, and they'll start smoking in jail.
The first step to their rehabilitation is to normal members of society.
To be fair, there are very few of them. They weren't even able to gin that up into a story. I love how there's this wonky, unearthly beast right there. They don't even take note of it to treat it like the piece of paper mache it is.
That's okay. They've been there before. All that stuff is documented.
I guess. This island got nuked. Hey, wait, is that the Galileo behind them, the shuttle from the Enterprise? Ah, we've seen this before. This is the berry juice that King Kong drinks to get wasted. They caught them all dressed up. It's fortunate, isn't it? By the way, this is how I always go to an island. What happened to their radiation suits?
They don't really need them anymore.
Their costumes just change from one scene to the next, and that's okay.
Drink it or die from radiation poisoning. Oh, yeah, you better drink. Regardless of the radiation, I don't think the spears are going to just stay out of your backs if you don't drink.
No, keep the monsters happy.
What do they give a damn about Godzilla?
What kind of deal did you make that got you hit with an atomic bomb? We saw the outsiders once. They told us that half of our island would be destroyed. Then they destroyed half our island. Why should we believe you?
Oh, the last time they saw outsiders, some guy named Nelson kidnapped their fairies.
Because it's June, I think we should use the word magical in front of that other word.
Oh yeah, magical fairies.
Have we reached Orwell yet with this? Not the movie. I mean, the way we have to describe it.
Getting close.
God, how I hate the 21st century. They sing good.
I would hope so. One of them was a well, what would be considered now a idol.
Well, I mean, out of all the people out there right now with that status, like only Kelly Clarkson can kind of sing. What's Britney Spears but a strippish meth head who can sing a little?
Oh, they actually take that sort of thing seriously over in Japan. They got tons and tons of idols over there.
Is it because their society doesn't believe in teamwork, or, like, for instance, doesn't like team sports?
No, a lot of them are actually in idol groups. It's very strange. Unless you really want to get into
You're
it,
saying it's a
I
specific
recommend
kind
you
of
do
pop
not.
star called idols?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I think I could kind of figure it out.
unless you want to go into a deep hole, I wouldn't recommend going into it. People get real, real serious about their pop idols over there.
My favorite idol song is Rebel Yell, or no, my favorite idol song is Dancing with Myself, and Billy is my favorite idol. What do you think of that?
Billy's the only idol I know.
What I love about Billy is he makes you feel good about life, because even though he was a pretty good singer and an okay guitar player, there's something else he's pulled off. He's an ex-huge drughead who doesn't look terrible in his old age at all. He gives me hope. Think how much worse he was than Nerdrotic.
Yeah, and he recovered.
Billy? No, Billy never ran out of money. He just kept
Not money
changing
wise,
it up.
physically wise. He was pretty strung out there for a bit.
He was in a lot of trouble for a while. I think he did what most British people do when they have a really bad drug problem. If you're famous, you call Keith Richards and you ask him what the hell to do.
Well, if anyone would know.
I read interviews with Keith Richards back to when I was like in grammar school, and I remember they're like, "How did you get off heroin?" They say it's very addictive, and he's like, it's just 5 days of climbing the walls. So what I did was I drank a bottle of Jack Daniels every day, and I'm like, oh my god. It's like, no wonder you didn't care. So then I looked to see how long he did it for. How long do you think Keith Richards drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniels every day to keep off heroin?
The 80s?
All the 80s, all the 90s, most of the 2000s, until he falls out of the coconut tree making Pirates 2.
That's a hell of a record.
There's a couple of days in there where he just did heroin anyway. He's Keith Richards, right? So if they meet a tiny little magical fairy man, could they marry him? Or would they both be married to him? Or do they need fairy man twins? Magical fairy man twins?
That's a good question.
You can see through them.
They're,
It's so weird. This is a better Mothra than last time, isn't he?
yeah, they fixed up the model a bit. They're also putting it in more advantageous spots for the camera.
What I love about this is in the Japanese military, it's like, congratulations, you have made it to Colonel. Here are your white gloves. What's with the white freaking gloves?
Makes them look more professional.
They need it, right? They're selling a movie about a giant monster. It's like, excuse me, sir, but it's 1960. How do you have 30 years of military experience that isn't... Oh, never mind. Those miniatures are awesome. They look totally real. Look at that. Look at that shit. It's awesome. Why go to a real quarry when you can do this, right?
Yeah, for not much more money.
70 or 80 bucks in their in their time's money. Oh, those persistent radio controlled tanks. They have dogged this Godzilla in every movie we've seen, haven't they?
Yeah, the scourge of his existence.
They don't really bother him.
I'll give them one thing. They sold a lot of radio-controlled stuff because of this movie. If you bought a Godzilla toy, you had to buy the radio-controlled tank to try to bum rush them.
Might not even be by the same people. It sold merch. This thing was like a merch monster. He looks a little shitty here. His face isn't exactly where it needs to be yet, but it made that big jump in the last movie. He's a little jelly-lipped here, isn't he?
A little bit. But they got his face a little more squared up. His jaw is just a little bit small.
Doesn't it look like someone's playing a giant city builder game? I love her Jackie O-like outfit, by the way. What year is this movie?
64.
Yeah, we're getting there.
So Jackie O was probably about 6 months before this.
Yeah, JFK dies in 63. Jackie O is like 10 years later, right? She's Jackie Kennedy at this point.
Well, not for like 6 months at this point. She stopped being Jackie Kennedy the minute that bullet hit.
Lyndon Baines Johnson saw to that. That jacket's awesome, huh? I'd wear that leather jacket, would you?
That is a nice jacket.
It's a hell of a jacket, Germ. Here we go. Finally, some smoke. Oh no, he stopped it from smoking. This is Japan. He's just wasted a cigarette. Isn't that like 3 months in jail in 1962 62 or whatever it is, 64?
I know he has plenty.
I like his Jim Jones glasses. I know when I'm fighting somebody, the last thing I want to do is knock off their sunglasses. Ooh, boy, wow. Ooh. You never mess with his sunglasses, though. They needed to. They're like, listen, we're gonna return the sunglasses after the shoot. Don't mess them up, right?
Yeah, they couldn't afford to break stuff like that. Hey, he's gonna get his money back one way or another.
Careful, you're gonna return that jacket too.
Hey, your money means absolutely nothing now.
Ooh. That's what you need. A small caliber pistol as Godzilla approaches. Okay, it's a good thing he's going to use it. Ah, well, there goes your well laid plan, smart guy.
And they're just evacuating now. They can literally see him coming maybe 40 miles away, and he's not exactly fast.
Not until he starts doing some other weird stuff later, like the tail slides and shit.
Oh, yeah, then he gets Mortal Kombat abilities sometime in the 70s.
His martial arts abilities really get impressive.
Yeah. He walked across half the country just to get some scrambled eggs.
You know, the price was good. They had him at a great price. Now, I don't see Mothra letting this happen, by the way.
Oh, no, there's a reason Mothra agreed to come. Mothra always knew what Godzilla was after.
Wow, the eyes really sucked there, huh?
Yeah, it looks kind of puffy.
Looks terrible. It's like Superman.
Actually, it looks like it was damaged, and that's a patch job. Exactly, buddy. All Godzilla wants is an omelet. It's not his fault Mothra lays the biggest eggs on the planet. It's not like he can get 10 million chickens to make himself an omelet. Well, Godzilla's having a little bit of trouble with the wind.
So Mothra's a lot stronger than I thought, and he can
Oh
generate a
yeah,
small hurricane.
Mothra is technically the strongest monster.
Now, is that a hurricane or a Herman cane? The way he's moving that pizza around.
And consider this: Mothra is half dead during this entire fight.
Explain that.
Mothra's life force is transferring to the egg.
I hadn't realized that. I didn't realize he was kind of like an external cell phone charging battery. That's
Yeah,
not so
because
great.
when they're on the island, they're explaining that Mothra is dying and the egg is hatching. There can only be one Mothra at a time. That Mothra will die when the egg hatches.
So I guess the smartest thing to do is take optimal damage now, and then like let rehatch and come back at him again and finish him off, right?
Yeah, and there is a bit of a surprise with that egg too,
Twins.
because that you seen the movie before?
I know I've seen a movie with two Mothras or two
Yeah,
caterpillars. And I feel like this is probably that movie.
yeah, he grounded Mothra.
Okay. Good time to re explain it. Also, that guy's got an awesome checked brown jacket, huh? I'd wear that jacket.
Yeah, professional wear in the '60s.
It's
Today's
cooler.
fashion just doesn't stand up to it.
No, not at all.
Well, they're abandoned. Yeah, now they gotta go wake up the egg.
Well, it's just a matter of life force transferring, right? So Mothra's pretty dead. In fact,
Yeah,
I mean,
Mothra.
once you get the egg, why not just build a big Tesla coil with a light on it to attract Mothra?
That also has the habit of attracting the lizards. Time for the Japanese military to play their role. Doorstop. They're learning more and more to darken up the surroundings so you can't see the wires so well.
Right, the shininess of the wires was a really bad tell. Hey, look, the Japanese military did maneuvers that year. They got some pictures of it. And we have some tanks and a diorama, which I think are going to be destroyed because that's why you make a diorama. And of course, we have our planes firing the wire guided rockets again, huh? Those are a favorite. Now, of course, the suit's expensive, so no one really fires right at Gojira.
Oh yeah, the suit's expensive and unfortunately kind of flammable. Don't want to cook the guy.
He looks like he's slightly on fire now, or is that just CGI?
It is hot enough in that suit before all the fireworks.
They still have it. Still hasn't dawned on them that their original kaiju song is awesome yet, huh?
Yeah, this is more the rampage theme for Godzilla.
Gotcha. And who can forget those great days of playing Rampage through the 80s and 90s in the arcade? I loved
Yeah,
that
one of the
game.
most profitable things for video game aspect anyway.
Because it didn't level up to hugely difficult overly fast, and it gave you 6 or 7 minutes for your quarter rather than like the minute and a half that the really hard games did.
Yeah.
You needed to get 5 to 7 minutes off that quarter or you were a loser. I mean, Mothra does not look good, bro.
Well, Mothra is a corpse at the moment.
It's a shame. Remember him in better days. Remember him as he was, guys.
Yeah, just maybe half an hour ago. All full of life. Still Godzilla got there. running out of bombs, so they have to resort to a net.
We have these cool Tesla coils, guys. We juice up the monster a little bit, then we drop a huge net on him. It's gonna work. Trust me. Well, the nets are certainly frustrating the monster, Germ.
Yeah, he looks fairly angry.
Sort of makes you wish someone would use some AI to get rid of those spots on the left side of the screen, huh? They're pretty constant. What kind of fucking general doesn't know the limit of his electricity? This guy's an idiot, Germ.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's gonna make a crucial mistake.
Unlimited power.
Not very unlimited.
Well, I mean, at least they didn't do it to Kong, because that would just make Kong madder. And juice him up.
Yeah, that's why we don't see Kong again. At least versus Godzilla.
You know, those radio controlled tanks serve well, and this general has no emotion for his radio controlled troops that he just lost. He's a real piece of garbage. It's his fault. It's his fault, Germ.
No, that's okay.
We,
They use the Imperial Guard model of professional warfare. Just throw bodies at it and it'll work.
I'm assuming that between movies, like what's going on is the people from the last movie are on trial and being executed and stuff like that for fucking up the Godzilla situation. Am I right?
Oh no, they're all heroes.
Dude, the guy in movie one sniffed it out. He's like, I'm going to blow myself apart too. Oh, this guy's got a biker jacket. He's the hippest Japanese dude of all. Did someone tell him he's in the Navy, though? I want his jacket, though.
Oh, there's still kids on the island. Oh yeah, those models are nothing but the best models for Showa era Godzilla. Oh yeah, buddy. Song's almost done, so the egg has to hatch. And they did replace the sign in Mothra to this movie with the whole Poseidon looking thing. They thought better of having the thing that looked too much like a cross. That's a pretty nice Jeep for 1964.
It's what do you call it? It's from AMC. It's like it's just a military. They're just military jeeps. The Japanese National Guard had to pitch in and make these movies. Now Godzilla and Mothra are like Homer Simpson and Frank Grimes. Maybe.
Yeah, the Mothra twins are out for revenge. Oh, I think Tiki's having technical difficulties. Those models do pretty well for the water. As big as they are, I thought they had a little bit more difficulty. Unlike the Mothra movie, these ones are mechanical. They're about half the size, so they're scaled to about consider Godzilla's to be about 6.5 feet tall. They're about 3 feet, 4 feet long. As one brave or stupid little moth larva. Oh, the sniper's in position. No, Godzilla's in the kill box. Hey, they found the kids. Welcome back.
All right, what did I miss? Jeez, that messed up my computer good. What the hell happened there?
Oh, the two moth larvas got Godzilla in a crossfire, and they've rescued the children.
Well, no story's perfect. The children are the tiny magical fairy girls.
The actual children.
Oh, that's right. There are youngins on the island. There we go.
Godzilla's almost mummified.
It's a good sound effect when they shoot the silk on him.
Yeah, very good choice.
We just saw that same move. That was a little too soon to recycle, huh? He can't even get one of them. What a loser. This Godzilla's a loser, Charm.
Yeah, he wasted all his energy on the big one.
I think also these chicks can charge it up by singing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was the end of this suit, huh? They were just done with it. Another great leather jacket. I think you should call your movie theater show Japanese People in Awesome Leather Jackets. Hey, look, that guy's a Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah, very similar.
There's two of them. They have two caterpillars and they say everything twice. It's like everything is stamplified. What are you gonna do? Nuke them? They said goodbye. They're okay.
Yeah, nuking really didn't work last time.
The only way to thank them is to build a better world. Well, they've been well thanked then. Thank God we did everything we needed to. I've seen that glyph before.
And that's the movie.
Guys,
Basically,
this is a
that's the
great
beginning
movie.
of. That's their dominance of the kaiju industry.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to see how they did it. These guys are just geniuses, right?
Yeah, they got all the pieces together they needed to. Most importantly, they knew what their genre was and they stuck to it. They didn't try to overexpand it.
They never did a rom-com, unfortunately.
Yeah, they had Toho had some other projects throughout the 50s and early 60s, but this is about the time they knew what their meal ticket was.
Well,
But
I mean, and from that, like, so much money has been made, like crazy money.
oh, insane money. It's a national icon at this point.
They make a movie in like what, like 48 or 51. The next one takes till like 59 or 60. This one's only 3 years later. They're gonna start getting closer together and more often.
Very close together.
For a while.
By the end of '64, I believe it was the same year theirs released in Japan.
We're just cranking them out at that point.
Yeah, it's at the end of the same year that Ghidorah comes out.
This was another great kaiju movie to watch. I watched most of it on my other computer while I waited for this one to try to restart. It's all those parts of Event Horizon that were rendering up into the Star Trek video that probably did it to the computer.
Yeah, Event Horizon's kind of iffy that way.
Yeah, it's got. There's a few pieces of Event Horizon in a new video essay, which, guys, please go check it out and like it and watch it and like it and watch it and like.
There's the link to Teague's new video. Go check that out. And we'll be back on Wednesday at should be 5 p.m. Pacific time for a Nerd Night Roundtable.
By that time, I will have figured out which party represents which thing. I know red is the elephant, guys.
Yes.
You told me elephant good.
Elephant fat ass, donkey jackass.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
pretty
I
much all
kind
you
of
need
thought
to
they were
know.
both kind of dumb. Yeah. We need a direct democracy like in the Orville, but we'll figure that one out when the time comes.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Either that or direct imperial oversight.
Well, I mean, Doomcock's working on that, right?
Yeah. So we got all our bases covered.
We can only just keep our fingers crossed and wait for things to get even better.
Exactly. But we'll see you all on Wednesday, everybody. Take care.